Remember when eating out felt like an event? When your parents ironed shirts just to sit under dim orange lights and order steak that came sizzling on metal plates? There was a time when dining in Canada meant more than food. It meant family, ceremony, and the quiet pride of going somewhere special. But not every restaurant deserved that pride. Some promised fine dining and delivered disappointment. Some looked fancy and smelled like failure. And some were so strange that you cannot believe they ever existed at all. These are the 8 restaurants that filled our childhoods with red vinyl booths, velvet wallpaper, and the constant hum of coffee machines that never stopped dripping. They are gone now, but their stories remain hidden under decades of nostalgia and the faint scent of deep fryer oil. 8. Mr. Steak. It was supposed to be Canada's affordable steakhouse for the working class, a place where families could feel like high rollers for the price of a movie ticket. The menus were thick, the tables heavy, the lighting soft enough to hide the gray color of the meat. Every city had one, usually in a strip mall, right beside a parking lot full of station wagons. The name promised confidence. The experience delivered chaos. The steaks came out thin, dry, and overcooked. The salad bar looked like an experiment in wilted lettuce, and the baked potatoes arrived colder than the butter beside them. Still, people came back week after week, because in the 70s, eating steak anywhere outside your house felt like luxury. Mr. Steak thrived for a while, until Canadians discovered the keg. Better food, better service, better wine, and the same price. Overnight, Mr. Steak looked tired, like an old suit that never fit right. By the late 80s, most locations were shuttered. All that remained were faded signs, cracked booths, and a generation that swore those dinners once felt special. 7. Mother's Pizza Parlor and Spaghetti House. It was loud, dim, and covered in red. Red booths, red carpet, red lights. Every corner smelled like garlic bread and melted cheese. Families loved it because it felt warm, romantic even, a place where parents could unwind and kids could spill Coke without getting scolded. The menu tried to be everything: pizza, pasta, ribs, steak, sundaes, seafood. It was chaos printed on laminated paper. But it worked, at least for a while. The laughter was real, the food was heavy, and the atmosphere carried that strange blend of comfort and claustrophobia that only the 70s could produce. When tastes changed, mothers did not. Lighter foods, quicker meals, fewer carbs. Suddenly, those cozy booths felt old, and the same songs that once made families smile started to sound tired. By the end of the 80s, the lights dimmed for the last time, yet for a generation of Canadians, the smell of oregano and melted mozzarella will always mean one thing: dinner at Mother's. Next came the buffet dream that turned into a culinary nightmare, a place where you could eat as much as you wanted, as long as you did not ask what it was. 6. Bonanza Steakhouse. For a while, Bonanza looked like the future of dining. Endless buffets, sizzling grills, and prices so low you could feed an entire family for the cost of one real steak somewhere else. It was an American idea that swept across Canada like wildfire. You walked through the door, and the first thing that hit you was the smell. A mix of gravy, smoke, and something sweet that no one could ever identify. Families loved it. You could pile your tray high with mashed potatoes, macaroni, and mystery meat, all drowning under a river of brown sauce that might have been gravy, might have been something else. The atmosphere was pure 70s optimism. Orange booths, brown walls, carpet that absorbed every sound and every spill. Children raced between tables with ice cream cones. Parents refilled coffee cups that tasted faintly of steak sauce, and everyone left full and vaguely uneasy. Bonanza promised abundance, but abundance became its downfall. Food waste, poor quality, and fierce competition destroyed the dream. By the mid-80s, the lights dimmed across Canada's Bonanza locations, leaving only faded signs and faint stains that never quite came out of the carpet. 5. Beef and Brew. The name said it all, and yet somehow said nothing. Part pub, part steakhouse, part family restaurant. It tried to please everyone and ended up pleasing no one. Every city had one, tucked between a bowling alley and a laundromat, serving roast beef that could double as insulation and draft beer that tasted like it came from the mop bucket. Still, it had charm. You could walk in on a Friday night and find the same faces every week. Locals hunched over bar stools, couples sharing platters of deep-fried onion rings, waitresses weaving between tables with trays full of foamy pints. It was cheap, loud, and strangely comforting. But by the end of the 70s, the charm faded. Pubs became sleeker, menus shorter, expectations higher. Beef and brew belonged to another time, a time of thick curtains, sticky tables, and laughter that echoed through smoke. When the last locations closed, few noticed. Yet for the regulars, it was the end of something familiar, a reminder that not every place needs to be perfect to be loved. 4. Benny's Restaurant and Tavern. Benny's tried to be everything a small-town diner could be. It served breakfast that stretched into lunch, burgers that tasted of burnt onions and nostalgia, and beer so cheap it made everyone generous. It was smoky, crowded, and alive in a way only old diners ever were. You could smell it before you saw it. Grill smoke, bacon grease, and beer mixing into a perfume of pure working-class comfort. Truckers sat beside office clerks, teenagers beside tired parents. It was a snapshot of Canadian life, imperfect but real. Then the health inspectors came. So did the chains. Benny's could not compete with the polished efficiency of modern restaurants, and one by one, the lights went out. No big announcement, no farewell sign. Just silence where the jukebox used to be. For those who remember, Benny's was more than a place to eat. It was the heartbeat of the neighborhood, beating loud and proud until the world decided to move on without it. 3. Lick's Home Burgers. For a moment, Lick's was the pride of Canadian fast food. Fresh burgers, homemade toppings, and a slogan that sounded like confidence. But what people remember most was not the food. It was the performance. Every order came with a song. Cashiers and cooks sang out names and jingles while flipping patties and scooping fries, turning lunch into theater. At first it was fun. Families loved the energy, teenagers thought it was hilarious, and everyone agreed that the burgers were better than the big American chains. But gimmicks fade faster than fries cool, and soon the singing became awkward. The staff stopped smiling. The songs sounded forced. By the time Lick's tried to expand nationally, Canadians had moved on. They wanted quiet meals and drive-through windows, not serenades with their ketchup. When the last locations closed in the early 2000s, it felt like a song ending mid-chorus. Lick's had tried to be unique in a world that rewards convenience, and uniqueness rarely survives efficiency. 2. Swiss Chalet. Not the modern version that delivers rotisserie chicken to your door, but the old one. The 1970s. Swiss Chalet was a strange place, half European fantasy, half cafeteria. Meals came on metal trays, gravy in tiny cups, chicken that gleamed under fluorescent lights. The famous chalet sauce was thick, sweet, and confusing. No one really knew what it was made of, but everyone dipped anyway. Back then, Swiss Chalet felt fancy. Families dressed up. Children shared coleslaw and fought over rolls. The sound of plates clattering mixed with the hum of old heating vents. It was warmth in the middle of a Canadian winter, even if the chicken skin was rubbery and the fries were never hot. Over time, it changed. New ownership, new kitchens, new recipes. The nostalgia stayed, but the texture of the memory shifted. For many, the old chalet represents the taste of a childhood Sunday, imperfect but unforgettable. 1. Mother Tucker's. A name that made people laugh before they even walked in. It was supposed to feel medieval, a feast for the whole family. Dim lights, heavy wood furniture, waiters in costumes, and a buffet that stretched longer than most driveways. It looked impressive, but the food never matched the promise. Dry roasts, bland soups, and desserts that tasted like cardboard dusted with sugar. Still, people came, not for the food, but for the feeling. A night at Mother Tucker's was entertainment. You ate until you couldn't move, then sat there listening to the chatter of strangers who felt like neighbors. By the late 80s, the theme grew old. Buffets were out, fresh menus were in, and Mother Tucker's became a relic of the past. When the final locations closed, they left behind ghostly dining rooms filled with silence and memory. Canada's restaurants grew up after that. Menus shrank, flavors sharpened, and the dream of the all-you-can-eat dinner quietly faded away. Each of these places tells a story about who we were. We chased experience over flavor, comfort over quality, and atmosphere over health. We went out not because the food was great, but because it made us feel like we were part of something. They were imperfect, they were loud, and they were ours.